Okay, everyone, let's mute our sound and listen to Bill sing a joy song. And let me.
This is John Denver's Sunshine on My Shoulders. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. If I had a day that I could give you, I'd give to you a day just like today. If I had a song that I could sing for you, I'd sing a song to make you feel this way. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. If I had a tale that I could tell you, I'd tell a tale sure to make you smile. If I had a wish that I could wish for you, I'd make a wish for sunshine all the while. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. Sunshine almost all the time makes me high. Sunshine almost always.
Unmute. Oh, Bill. Oh, yes. And it's a sunshiny day today here in Lake County. So, perfect, beautiful song. Thank you, Bill, as always. As we now continue forward, I have my Christ candle. And for the opening prayer, I'd like to acknowledge the presence and the power of the Christ energy that lives within each of us. That energy force, we are it, and it is us. And we give thanks. And so it is. And now Bill will sing Surely the Presence and the Lord's Prayer.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the light is in this place. I can feel her mighty power and her grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the light is in this place. And the Lord's Prayer. Our Father and Mother, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful, Bill. Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, as we continue, I'm going to read the invocation affirmation, and think about it this way. This is who we are. There is only one presence and one power active in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. Then there is only one presence and one power active in unity, Clear Lake Center, God, the good, omnipotent. Finally, there is only one presence and one power active in our world, God, the good, omnipotent. And now, the 5 basic ideas of unity is really the basic foundation of our unity beliefs. Number 1, God is absolute good, everywhere present. 2, human beings have a spark of the divine within them, the Christ consciousness within. Therefore, they are inherently good. 3, human beings create their experience by the activity of their thinking. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. 4, prayer is the process that affirms our connection with God mind and brings forth wisdom, healing, and everything good. And finally, knowing and understanding universal laws, also called truth, are not enough. A person must also live the truth that he or she knows. And as we continue, Bill, another song.
Early in the morning when I open my eyes and I see the dawn spread across the skies. There's just no way I can ever deny it's a miracle. Outside my window birds are singing, tree to tree I see them winging, and every new moment is sure to be bringing a miracle. It's a miracle that the flowers grow. It's a miracle that the breezes blow. It's a miracle that the rivers flow forever to the sea. It's a miracle that the rain comes down. It's a miracle that the world turns round, and the finest miracle I ever have found is a miracle of you and me. You can see it in the wings of butterflies. You can see it in children's eyes. So many little things make you realize it's a miracle. When summer turns to winter and the spring rolls round, the little green things poke out of the ground. Every little piece of magic that you ever have found is a miracle. It's a miracle that the flowers grow. It's a miracle that the breezes blow. It's a miracle that the rivers flow forever to the sea. It's a miracle that the rain comes down. It's a miracle that the world turns round, and the finest miracle I ever have found is a miracle of you and me. Now people who run for the dollar bill, the shiny long car or the house on the hill, they never seem to notice that the world is filled with miracles. Down in your chest your heart is thumping, through your body your blood is pumping. Being alive, now ain't that something? It's a miracle. It's a miracle that the flowers grow. It's a miracle that the breezes blow. It's a miracle that the rivers flow forever to the sea. It's a miracle that the rain comes down. It's a miracle that the world turns round. The finest miracle I ever have found is a miracle of you and me. Now in a world of war and hate and killing, I can understand why some aren't willing to look at life as a grand and thrilling miracle. But with all the suffering and all the pain and all the dreams that are dreamed in vain, people get back up and they try again. Now that's a miracle. It's a miracle that the flowers grow. It's a miracle that the breezes blow. It's a miracle that the rivers flow forever to the sea. It's a miracle that the rain comes down. It's a miracle that the world turns round. The finest miracle I ever have found is a miracle of you and me. Is a miracle of you and me.
Yes, Phil, it's a miracle. Life. I think life's a miracle. And you are so terrific. You really are. So, moving along. The daily word for today I thought was very appropriate for our speaker that's going to speak. And on Sunday, January 28th, 2024, it's titled Free, and the message is Divine Wisdom, Love, and Strength Guide Me to Freedom. Okay, while I may not be able to control what is happening around me, I have the power to choose my response. Even though it may seem paradoxical, assuming complete responsibility for my reactions and choices is the key to my freedom. No one and nothing can make me feel a certain way. Living from this awareness gives me the power to create my life from the inside out. I choose my thoughts, words, and actions. If I don't like what my life is showing me, I have the power to make new choices. I do not squander my spiritual freedom. Other people and worldly situations have no control over me. Taking full responsibility for my life, I am free to create my future by living from my divinity. And the Bible quote, well, you have to think about this. I have to think about it. From 1 Peter 2:16, it says, as servants of God, live as free people, yet do not use your freedom as a pretext for evil, is the word they use. Anyway, live as a free person. So I'm going to introduce to you Christi Corradi. She's been coming to our church since 2015, always with inspiring talks, followed by very creative, interactive workshops. And so, Christi, I say to myself, well, perhaps in the future, who knows? Who knows? And so we will have a talk from Christi Corradi about, and then what, let this be your best year. Thank you, Christi.
Oh, thank you, Barbara, and everyone. I love so much when I am able to come back to the Unity Church of Clear Lake and speak to you guys again, because you're, in so many ways, you're like a second home for me. So today I am talking about your make this the best year ever. Now, how many times have you heard people say that? Oh, this is going to be the best year ever. And then wah, 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 we got to go into the next year. And it's like, why isn't that happening? And it's not ever, ever, ever because of the divine. Because the divine is only reacting to how we show up in the world. So one of the principles that I teach is the idea that we are the divine in expression, and the divine is like a low pressure front. Okay, so in physics, in the science, in the weather, it shows that if we are that the wind doesn't blow towards something, it actually pulls into a low pressure front. And so when we are the low pressure front, everything for us to be the divine in expression must pull into that low pressure front, except for when there's a tree in the way, or there's a building in the way, and that's where we get, disaster, right? And so if we look at it personally, it's when we stand in the way of the divine, coming to the freedom. I love the reading, the freedom of who we are here to be. So this year, if you want this to be your best year ever, we're going to start with asking, why hasn't it been in the past? Okay, now, the past is good for one thing, and that is to learn from it, not to live from it. And so we want to turn the page, and we can turn the page on the past of the things that we don't want to replicate, but we can take the things from the past of what we do want to learn from. So here's a great example of that. Why wasn't last year or the year before, or why wasn't it better than the year before? Now, first of all, remember that this is really actually a man-made calendar. And what it's done for us is that it's given us the choice of being able to say, oh, I'm going to start anew. It's us. It's nothing else. It's us that says, I'm going to choose to start anew. Now, the reason that Bill sang the song Miracle is because my program is called, one of my programs is called Miracle Manifesting Exponentiated. That's to the power of 2. And I wanted to read to you both the definition of miracle and the definition of exponential power 2. So a miracle is a surprising and welcome event that is not explicable by nature or scientific laws and is therefore considered to be a work of a divine agency, right? So we've established already that miracles are the divine agency. Okay, we are pulling into that divine agency. And I say, however, okay, so then is that we now know, as science and religion is coming together, that we actually, there is scientific laws that affect bringing miracles into our lives. And I call those the universal principles. And in the Unity Church, those that Barbara read were the principles that allow us to now create miracles. That's the heaven on earth part, right? To create the heaven on earth. So so then we get to exponentiate, and that's what this year is. That's why this year is going to be different than any other year for you if you learn to exponentiate your life. And I'm going to go through 3 steps today that are areas where you can exponentiate your life. And I'm going to tell you how to do that so that you can have the best year ever. But I want to read to you what that means to exponentiate, or to create the exponential of. The constant raised to the power equal to a given expression. Okay, so a constant that is raised to the power of the equal expression. So let's take a vision, which is what we're going to talk about first. So when we exponentiate a vision, then what we do is we take the vision and we times it by itself. We don't add it together. We times it by itself. And what creates that exponential is our relationship to the divine. And so the divine, when we align with that low pressure front of us coming to the true nature of who we are, then it is not just that coming true. Let's take an example. Let's say I want a new car, okay? And we want to put that into the divine expression. It becomes the best new car ever. And it comes to us in very unique and unusual ways. That's the exponential, when we allow the divine to multiply, not to add to, but to multiply what we have to bring to it. So one of the things that people, and I think my tagline was, why don't we do that? And the reason that we don't is we make a vision at the beginning of the year, and we set our goals for the year, and then we forget them. We think they're done. The work is not done then. The work is, and in my teaching of my work, the thing I find when people don't succeed and they go, why not? I go, have you been not just reading your vision, but being in your vision every day, ongoing, 365 days. Now, there's occasions I'm traveling on some days, there's probably, I got up at 2:30 the other morning, Pacific time, to leave Atlanta, right? I didn't read my vision that day. I mean, I probably could have on the airplane, right? Or listened to my vision. That's another thing that we can do. But pretty much we want the momentum to create that vision. And most people, I will tell you, you check in with them on February, and they don't even remember. They don't even remember what their vision is. So we must be in the work of sharing our vision. Now, what is our vision? Our vision is actually that desire, that longing inside of us is actually the divine expressing through us. We are the hands, we are the eyes, we are the voice, like Bill, of the divine, exponentiating that energy, right? I mean, we could say the words that Bill said, but they wouldn't have as much beauty and power and be exponential as when we hear him sing those, right? So we need to take our vision and, first of all, know that we read it every day or listen to it. And that if we really want to create it, then we need to do that. And the second thing that we do, the second step that we want to initiate is what I call sparkle. Now you can see back here kind of my sparkle, right? And those that know me know that I just have a joy and effervescence of life. But I also have that about my vision. So instead of just saying, I'm going to lead a group to Kanab, Utah, Southern Utah in February, I'm going to go, oh my gosh, I imagine, here's the sparkle. And if your vision is not working in your life, think about, am I bringing the sparkle to it? I'm sitting around the campfire and all these people are joining me. We're looking up at the stars. The feeling is pulsing. Okay, so you must sparkle your vision. Now, one of the reasons we create vision, a lot of people say, well, what about being in the here and now? Well, one of the reasons that we sparkle that we create a vision is because if we live, how do I want to say this? That unless we have a future vision, the only thing we have to operate from is the past, is what we remember, what we know, right? And if we don't have a future vision that's based on, I'm going to say the unknown, and I'll get around to that in a second, but if we don't create a vision, then we go on autopilot. And there's only one thing. Think about an airplane. What makes an airplane go on autopilot? It's pre-programmed. Where does that pre-programming come from? It comes from the past. And so if you're putting your vision on autopilot, it's being generated from what you know. And if you want the best year ever, if you want a different year, you need to create it from the unknown. Okay, and so that's the imagination. That's why we have an imagination. That's why imagination is one of our superpowers. Why the divine has given us imagination, so we can think. My book is called Beyond the Box, right? So we can live beyond the box, not from what we knew before, but what we have taken and moved forward. So you want to sparkle it in that same way, in an exponential way. What's a way you've never thought of, whatever it is that you want to create? Think about it. Okay, let's say you want to go on a vacation. How can I make that? I'm a traveler. Okay, so Barbara's laughing, right? I'm probably every month out of the year, I'm traveling somewhere, right? And if I want that to be a new experience, I already know what traveling's like. And often it's like, well, the trip I had in January was flying from Atlanta and getting home to Santa Rosa. I left at 2:30 a.m. in the morning, Pacific time. It was 5:30 in Atlanta. But when I walked through my door, it was 5:30 p.m. Now, I was exhausted. Now, I'm going on another trip. I can go, oh, gotta get on a plane again, gotta get, exhausted. No, I clamor out to, and yes, I can take pieces of my past of when, like, I've flown to Europe in business class. That's really awesome. And I didn't even want to get off the airplane. I'm like, are you kidding? The time's up. This was fun, right? So I can grab from the past or from someone else's experience or my experience and go, oh, traveling is half the fun. And this trip to Phoenix is actually going to be really fun because my husband and son are driving and my daughter-in-law and I are flying. And we've got hours before they arrive after driving to pick us up. And she and I are going to go find a place with a swimming pool. Right? So it's like, how can you sparkle your vision? Don't just go, yes, I have a successful year. I make $150,000 this year. And No, like, what do you want to do with your money? Right? That's how you generate more money, not in setting a number, but going, that gives me the freedom. So money's only good for freedom. It's the only thing it's there for, free enough to be creative in the world. And so what do you want to do that allows you to be freedom? Then see, you're creating the low pressure for then all the money, all the means, all the any way that you want to create it. If you get out of your way through your thinking, say, oh, but I couldn't possibly generate enough money to go to Europe this year. But if you say, well, I don't know how, but I imagine it's possible. And I start envisioning, oh, I would love to go to Barcelona and see Gaudi's cathedral and all of the ornate building. And, you've got to sparkle your vision. And then number 3, so that I don't run over too far, number 3 is to remove your invisible walls. Now, that's basically the subconscious beliefs that you have that are running you. Okay, so imagine an iceberg, right? And the water level is at the very tip top. Most of us live from that tip top thinking that's reality. But what's causing our acts and our actions is also what's in the subconscious below that iceberg. So let's say that that this isn't true, but when I was a child, we had an accident. Okay, traveling. Then what is in my subconscious is, oh, traveling, that doesn't feel good, and I don't even know why, because that is way down in my subconscious. Now there's 2 ways to move through this, and the first way is just for you to practice to get to the second way, which is so much easier. And that is like, let me try to think of something. Well, traveling, one of the things I used to really get upset about traveling was seeing dead animals on the side of the road, right? And I used to burst into tears when I was a little girl and I'd see an animal dead on the side of the road. So as I got older, I decided, or an accident, another person's accident or this or that. I was just such a emotional kid that I would just burst into tears, right? Then, especially when I started, into my spiritual work, I started praying and blessing them. And that switched and changed what I experienced as I traveled. So I went back to my past and I looked at what was a limiting place in my history down in that subconscious part of my iceberg. And I took that and I said, now, how can I remedy or heal that? And it was through prayer. Right. And so now prayer, and I even now hear sirens, and that's the first thing I do is go into prayer. And so I was with somebody the other day, and sirens, I went, bless their heart. And they go, what are you talking about? And I said, that siren out there. Oh no, it was a helicopter flying over, going to land at our hospital here. Right. And I said, well, bless their hearts. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I said, whoever's in there, I want to send them blessings. Right. And so it's become automatic. Okay. Now, that is practice to know how to change our subconscious into a conscious act or action. There's another way to do it where we don't have to go back to our past and dig up the icky stuff, right? Because then we have a tendency to do what Barbara read, what we think about, we create more of, right? So what it is that And this is another value of having a vision. You go, if I am the person moving in that direction of a joyful, free life, physically fit, hiking up mountains, doing this or that. Okay, is this whatever I'm feeling right now moving me in the direction of my vision, or is it pulling me away? And if it's pulling me away, once we practice knowing this, we don't have to go back and find what it was that was pulling us. We just go, oh, I'm going to align myself with the divine, being the divine in expression. I'm going to bring joy and sparkle into this moment of moving forward. So you turn away from what isn't your vision and you turn towards what is your vision. And your vision, and in my program, I give 5 questions. And I think I've done that talk actually here before of how you know your vision is worthy of you. Notice I didn't say, are you worthy of your vision? I said, is your vision worthy of you? Because you're going to put time and investment and everything in it, right? So that's why we use our vision to know that we are moving in the right direction. So first we practice removing the invisible wall. For example, that I would cry and break down and not be any good to anybody when I would see a dead animal or an accident. And it really came in handy one time because I was actually, we were caravanning and one of our caravan cars had an accident. And the first thing I did was moved into prayer. And the second thing I did was able to act. Before, I would have just been a meltdown, crying bundle of mess on the side of the road along with them, right? And we want to say, is this moving me in the direction of serving the divine through being the hands, the eyes, the voice of the divine? And if that's a resounding yes, for the good of all and to the harm of no one, then we just turn our vision towards that and say, what is an action I can take in that moment? So coming here, whether you're listening to the recording or whether you're on here live, or also I want to tell you that right now we are generating an energy together that is actually moving out and touching other people's lives, even if they never hear this call. I remember I was working with, when I was younger, was working with special ed classes. And I had a mentor and I was a trainee in this class. And this girl that I'd been working with so much, she one day disappeared. And I was told that her foster family had decided they couldn't take care of her and she moved away. And I said, oh, I thought it was making such a difference in her life. And now, and this teacher said to me, just know that you have planted the seeds and she's not going to know where they came from. And that's what we're doing right now. All of us here joining together, we are planting the seeds for an exponentiated best year ever. So find what you truly love. Find what feels like freedom to you and choose to put that into your low pressure front, to be in harmony with the divine, and to allow your acts, actions, and especially your thoughts be that will take you and move you forward. See, miracles are really just the divine, us aligning with the divine, and the divine giving us a hand out to help us. And we just need to unravel what isn't divine and create ourselves as the low pressure front. So this can be the best year ever. It's all up to each one of us individually. And that is what I am holding for myself, for my family, for my church communities, for the world, that in the appearance of lack or limitation, I choose to see divine truth everywhere. And so I invite you to join me in that. If you want to learn more about what I do, I'll put my email in the chat if that's okay, and people can reach out. I actually have a very exciting program that I'm rolling out this year. And I will continue the miracle manifesting. I want to tell you about the miracle manifesting. I always manifested huge miracles. And I didn't know, I just did it, right? And so I didn't know. So I went to Spirit and I said, how do I do this so I can do it on an everyday basis? And I got a formula of how to do this. And this was the first 3 steps of it. And I realized that everything I had done in the past followed those 7 steps. But it's been miraculous. I one time manifested out of the blue $250,000. Now, I didn't do it by saying, I want $250,000. I did it by saying, I want to build a granny unit in our backyard for our son and his wife. I don't need to know how divine. And literally, we have never figured out where that money came from, but we do know our son and his wife live in the backyard of our house. And for Christmas this year, our son gave us a gift certificate saying he would cook us dinner at our house, him and his wife, every Wednesday night until we go to Phoenix. So that's been awesome, right? So, and it's not about the money. We think it's about the money. It's about the freedom. What is it that you would love in the way of freedom to express the divine in a greater way in our world, on our planet? Okay.
Yeah, well, yes, so much to think about, and absolutely beautiful and terrific as you are, inspiring, as we've always said. So, thank you so much, Christi. I mean, yes, that talk really speaks to me after my year last year, 2024, the best ever. Right there, you go. Okay, so well, let me. Okay, announcements. Okay, well, you all are, those of you that are watching now or will be watching the YouTube later, you'll be getting all the talks in February, and it'll come on the computer for the future talks. But I think, so the usual, we have Patricia at church on the 1st and 3rd. And, but the big thing is that we have on February 11th, we have a Zoom service at 10:30. And I wrote down, it's from Reverend Dr. Bob Brush, because he goes by both and whatever. It's a Valentine's talk from someone that we have never had before. And so a brand new speaker. And again, of course, we will tape it, but well, it's kind of fun to be part of the viewing, the first viewing of it, and then the chat later when you can talk to Reverend Bob and talk more about his background and whatever. So it's when we go to chat when our service, the filmed service ends. So anyway, so I would suggest that you do it. Let me just read what I wrote here. Love is one of the 12 powers of man by a co-founder, Charles Fillmore. The Apostle Paul wrote to the sorry, folks. Anyway, they about the virtues of faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. New to our Unity Church, join us together as we bond together and also enjoy Bill for music. It'll be from Nebraska, but Bill will be our musicians. So anyway, I think so moving along then. Donations, well, always greatly appreciated. Mail to Unity, P.O. Box 755, Lower Lake, 95457. And then the prayer for protection is here somewhere. Yes. Something that I say a lot to myself and to the divine. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, because I am, and all is wonderful. And so, please stay for chatting afterwards. Questions for for beautiful Christi, and any other discussions that we would like to have. But in the meantime, Bill's going to sing the closing song, and then we can all unmute.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let